Are we leaking page rank when we link to a page that has lower page rank than the page that we're on, or should we only be linking to pages that we believe have a higher page rank than the page that we're on? How does outbound linking play a role in this whole link distribution?
So this is a great question. I'm glad you asked this, Steve. So yeah, so I'm going to give you the graph answer, right?
Okay, cool.
And this is going to make more sense than I think any other answer that you've heard. So if you think of the web graph, right, and what we're doing is we have our own little hyper local graphs, right? They're called websites. And so each one of these hyperlocal graphs in this bigger graph, we want to solve for leakage, right? Let's call it leakage, right? We call it link loss at Market Brew. So we'll call it that. Okay. Link loss essentially comes in many different forms. There's internal link loss. People might go, what is that? Well, those are things like dangling pages and other things that can cause internal link loss. We can talk about that later, but there's external outgoing link loss, which is what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. And we want to reduce the external outgoing link loss to a site, right? Or to that local graph.
Right.
In order to do that, we've got to look at it from how much of that link flow might come back to my local graph, right? And to do that, we have to identify like the think of it as like the hierarchy or the distance from these graphs that you're pointing out to. So if you were to link to Wikipedia, Amazon, like really big sites, that graph is probably not very, it's probably not likely that if somebody's on that site, they're going to find your local graph, right? Yep. It's more likely that they might find your local graph if they're on like a site in your industry, right? Or even a competitor site, right? Somebody who's ready to buy. Those are, you're going to get more link flow coming back because if they have a link pointing back to you, it's likely that you're going to stay in that same local ecosystem, right? Because your localized graph, it's not just in a void, there's a larger graph around your local graph that are related pages and related sites in your industry. So if you think of it that way, how do we lower the amount of external outgoing link loss? Because what we're doing is we're not saying like, hey, well, we shouldn't link anywhere because if we link, it's not going to somehow come back to me. What we're thinking about is how much of that share of link flow that I'm sending off is going to come back to me. Because some of it will, right? There's a percentage that surfer will randomly get back to, by clicking through, will find your site, however infinitesimally small. So, but the short answer of this graph solution here, and think of it in a graph way, is that you want to link out to more closer ecosystems. Okay. You're going to get more of that link flow back. It will still show up as outgoing link loss. Yeah. From if you're analyzing it from a local graph perspective, because once it's gone, it's out of there. Now, a lot of people are going to be saying, well, these are my sites over here too. So when you're linking out to these other sites, then you have to think, okay, well, where's my overall ecosystem? What's my local graph look with all of my sites? Mm-hmm. And if I send link flow over to this site, how much am I going to get back into this site? Is it more of a one-way street where we're just, back in the day, some of the hacks in Google, we would create these one-way, wheels basically of links, and you
Web 2.0s and three-way links.
Or is it more reciprocal? Or is it just, I send links over that way and they send links over this way? We can use tools like we do at Market Brew to identify, where the imbalance is, what site's getting what percentage of the probability as if we look at it as all one, ecosystem.